In our Growth Report 2022, we spoke with several local firms on how they're advising their clients going into the new year. On the insurance front, we spoke with Ellie Platt of the Platt Insurance Group, who joins us here today. So obviously a big concern across all businesses with everybody is inflation, the rising costs. So how is that affecting the insurance industry?
So it's affecting us the most when it comes to home insurance. So one of the key parts of home insurance is replacement costs, or the cost to rebuild your home in case there's a total loss.
Sure.
And building materials are so much higher, just like everything else. So whether it's the cost of paint, drywall, contractors' costs, all of it. And so that all goes into the replacement value. And so many people, just like me, we don't want to think about our insurance, so they're not regularly reviewing it. And so I think one thing we're really talking about with our clients right now is get into your agent, review your home insurance policies, look at that replacement value, and just make sure it's accurate. Most of the time, it's not. You know, right now they're just a lot higher.
So could that possibly mean my house is worth more than I think it's worth?
So your home is probably, it's not worth more, but
it's worth
probably
more to replace it than it would have been.
True. Well, that's true. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you look at market values and what you would buy a home for, if you were going to put your home on the market, replacement values are definitely going higher. Now, what I'll say, so in Northeast Ohio, for the most part, our replacement values historically have been a lot lower than market value. So now we're getting to this place where they're becoming a little bit more, they're a little more even.
Okay.
But when you purchase a home policy, an agent's going to use something called a replacement cost estimator. So they're plugging in your square footage, your number of bathrooms, kitchens, and then coming up with a value.
Right.
Well, that's based on data from a few years ago. So now with inflation and just the rising costs of construction materials, those amounts are probably not accurate. So agents are doing the best they can, insurance companies are doing the best they can to adjust those, but it's happening to everybody. So the best thing somebody can do is to reach out, be proactive, review that replacement cost on their insurance policies. I think that would be the first thing. The other thing is some of the best insurance companies out there have endorsements on their policies. One is called an extended replacement cost. The other one's called guaranteed replacement cost. So the insurance company's only going to give you what that amount is in the policy, but let's say you need more. So those endorsements give you more just in case you need it.
Okay.
So that would be something it's something we're talking about with our clients every day right now, and we're trying to update those replacement cost estimators to be more in line with where we are standing here today. And it's happened quickly. It happened in the last year and a half.
Right. Is that something that happens often in this area? We're not really prone to
no. So I'll tell you,
no.
So our replacement costs, this is, it's unusual. I would say probably in my 10 years in the insurance industry, it's the first time I've seen this where the replacement costs are going up so much more quickly than we can even update them. But if there is a serious weather, it's been a long time since there's been a severe weather event, let's say a tornado. So let's say a tornado came into, we're in Trumbull County. Let's say a tornado came into Holland and destroyed.
Happened in 85.
Yeah, happened in 85. So it's been that long. So hundreds of homes are destroyed overnight. Well, what's going to happen? There's going to be a huge demand for building materials and construction. And so it's going to immediately raise those costs.
Right.
So one, you want to make sure what you have is accurate, but then also some of those endorsements, we highly recommend having some type of guaranteed replacement or some additional coverage in case you need it.
Well, what about businesses? So what are some of the insurance concerns that businesses are having to deal with right now, or some of the things maybe they're not aware they need to be looking at?
Sure. So what we're talking about with replacement values also applies to businesses in terms of property. So any type of commercial property, rental properties, the same thing applies. You want to make sure that those replacement values are in line with inflation and where it is today. So a couple other big things affecting businesses is people are working from home.
Right.
And so I'm dealing with this in my own business, is our employees are at home. Our business's computers are in their home. Our business property is now off-site. So you want to look at your business policy and make sure that it provides coverage for property off-premises, off your main premises. That's the big thing. Also, cyber liability.
Right.
Is a big one. So a lot of times cyber liability policies, if people are working from home, there might be some differences with that. And so the big thing, I think, is just to review your policy, know what you have, and then get some advice from an agent on, where do we fill in the gaps. So working from home is a big one.
And I think cyber insurance is rising pretty quickly.
Yeah,
correct?
I mean, it was rising before the pandemic, but even more so now. I mean, I have some amazing clients that when the shutdowns hit, they adapted. So they went from retail locations to doing shows on Facebook, doing selling product on Facebook, and so that brings in dynamics that are new really to everybody, and including the insurance world. I mean, insurance carriers are having to adjust and adapt, and so it's a new space to be in. So I wouldn't take it for granted that you have the coverage. So what we're talking about with our clients, let's just make sure you have what you need in place, that it's going to help you in a brick and mortar store, but also it's going to cover you if you're selling online. Also their customer information, just protecting that if there was a breach of a computer or a laptop or in some way, we want to make sure that they have that protection.
And probably the likelihood is greater that if something was going to happen to your business, it would be something to do with your cybersecurity as opposed to
nowadays,
a total loss of your brick and mortar
absolutely
building.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, cyber liability, cyber insurance is more important than ever, and the cost. So let's just say something simple, and so many people are working from home, they have laptops. What if that laptop that has customer personal information was stolen or lost? We have an obligation as a business to notify our customers. When you have thousands of customers, just the cost of notifying them is expensive. And so
what they might say.
Not to mention, just the impact on your reputation or your brand or, what happened. Or a lot of times you've seen this in some of the big, Target, I think, had a cyber liability breach, and they paid for credit monitoring services for a lot of their customers for, I think, a year. I mean, that's an enormous cost. And so those are the types of things to consider when, we have a lot of data that's now out there in the cloud that we have to protect. And really the cost is almost greater than it would be just a brick and mortar location. So that's definitely something we are talking about even more with our clients this year.
Are there any other challenges facing the insurance industry? I imagine you are also short on workers.
Oh, yes.
Are there any other challenges, like I said, that you're facing or trends that you're looking for in 2022 that the business community should be aware of?
Yeah, so, we are hiring, like everybody else.
Right, exactly.
So, that's definitely something we're looking to do. But, I think just businesses and but also individuals, that if they are doing any type of renovations to their properties, any type of upgrades. So we already talked about replacement costs, but if they've made changes over the last couple of years, it's important that they're communicating that to their agent to make sure that those coverages are being adjusted. I think a really good agent's going to be proactive in reaching out to you. But nobody really wants to think about insurance. We want to set it and forget it. But the big thing, I think, is reaching out to your agent, letting them know if there's been changes. If most of your workforce is working from home, you need to make sure your agents know that so that they can make adjustments to your policies. One thing that's really interesting, and I don't think there's even a conclusion, is a piece of insurance is called a business income or lost business income. Okay. So when COVID first hit, there were tons of claims. So lost business income would be, if because of a covered loss you weren't able to operate, it would cover their lost income. Well, obviously over COVID that happened to a lot of people, and so so many businesses filed claims. Well, the insurance companies pretty much across the board have been saying that COVID or a virus is not a covered loss. So I think that's going to be a fascinating story to follow over the next year or 2 years, because there's a lot of legislation, there's a lot of pending court cases on that. So most insurance companies denied those claims because it has technically business income is a property coverage. There has to be a direct physical loss, and insurance companies pretty much said that COVID was not that. So it's going to be interesting to see how the insurance industry responds to what's happened. And also, most businesses are saying, how can we protect, if insurance is here to manage risk, how do we protect against this again in the future?
Sure.
And so I think that's going to be something interesting to follow the next couple years.
You can read more on this topic in our Growth Report 2022, which is available in print or online. Click subscribe at businessjournaldaily.com to see our plans and choose the one that's right for you.
717 Credit Union. Business services designed to meet your daily needs. Commercial loans, business deposits, merchant and payroll services. 717 Credit Union. It's knowing you were treated right every time.